Reporting from Washington, D.C., this is what a bunch of losers looks like.
The Second Amendment is vital to the American way of life. It's liberal nutsness, guys. And the problem is nobody will stand up and say, wait a second, that doesn't make any sense.
Middle Easterners, I would say caliphate this, bitch.
Liberals don't want to talk at all about science when it comes to biology and the transgender issue.
I'm at the CNN display in New York City, and this is where their bullshit comes straight out of. This is the bullshit hall that CNN pumps all their stuff out of. Uno here, keep Gitmo open, fill that thing up.
Mayors that are Democrats are a destruction to our society. Parents, it's your fault. Your fault you're raising a bunch of sissies. The Muslim way of life is not conducive to America. I would really appreciate it if you'd subscribe to my page. Give me a thumbs up, give me a thumbs down, comment on all the videos, share them with your friends if you like them, share them with your friends if you don't like them. I'd really appreciate it.
Reporting from Washington, D.C., this is...
What is up, America? It's me, Cliff Gephardt, along with my buddy $2 Juan. Hope you're finding this tonight. If you do, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the share button. I don't want to be put in share jail. I'm constantly put in share jail, so I'm trying not to be put in share jail anymore. So if you guys can find your way in your hearts to hit that like button, to hit that share button, I'd greatly appreciate it. We got a lot to talk about tonight, guys. What's up, Gloria? I've got a whole list of stuff here. I did some research. I did some data. I feel like I'm doing a school report from like when I was in college or something like that. I did so much research. Now, I will say you're probably sorry to see that I'm not dressed like a woman tonight. I'm not dressed like some crazy Nancy Pelosi. I'm not dressed like some crazy Elizabeth Warren. I was going to go for the Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez or whatever, but I just didn't have it in me tonight. You know, what's up, Laura? How's it going? But guys, we got so much to talk about tonight. But hey, I want to let you guys know, if you guys like this page, if you like this thing and you share it, and I can tell who shared it or not because I get a little report. If you share this post, you're going to enter to win a Make America Great hat in honor of the Covington Catholic school kids because they were all wearing their MAGA hats. So I want to say, hey, if you register, if you hit that share button, if you hit that like, you got to share, like, and subscribe to my page. If you do that, tonight you'll have a chance to be one of however many people. Usually about 6,000 people come across, you know, and watch our videos every week. We get about 16,000 people that see it. But if you're one of those people, I'm going to give away a free MAGA hat. We'll reach out to you in a message. But guys, I want to talk about some crazy stuff tonight. We only got an hour because I know the 4Js are coming on. And we got so much to talk about. But the first thing I want to talk about is, how you doing tonight, Juan?
I'm doing all right. How you doing over there?
I am doing fabulous. I am doing really good. Man, there's so much stuff to talk about, but tonight's the first night you haven't seen me as like a drag queen in a while. Have you noticed? Man,
yeah, I noticed.
I had so many people that are like, dude, what were you thinking? And I don't believe in all that transgender stuff, but I just did it for a point. So, D, how's it going tonight? And just remember that you can register for the free MAGA hat, and we might throw in some other special stuff. So let's get to it. Who says let's get after it? Who says that? That's that guy on CNN, right? That Cuomo guy. You know. So
I'm
anyway,
still trying to figure out what say you.
What say me? What do you mean? What say me? Hey, Carol, how's it going?
That's what they say on the news channel. And what say you?
Well, I know what say us. And the first thing on my list, I don't know if you can see that, is the wall. The wall. So I did some math on this, and I know there's been all this math. There's all kinds of stuff going on out there, and I just wanted to run something by you because the number is $5.7 billion. $5.7 billion. $5.7 billion.
Which is like a fraction of our
annual budget. It's like next thing. Imagine this. Imagine you come home and your significant other, or your mom, or your sister, your brother says, "Hey, look, I make $44,000 a year, and I want to spend $57 on something." And it's like someone saying, "No, you can't do it." And they have a temper tantrum, and they block everything because they don't want you to spend $57 of your $44,000 paycheck. That's the significance. How's it going, Teresa? What's up, girl?
What's up, Gloria?
And so $57 of $44,000 is nothing. It's absolutely nothing. So that's the first thing we need to put in perspective.
It's 2 tips on dinner.
It's 2 dips. It's like 6 or 7 times the Starbucks. That's what it's significant to in the American budget. But they can't allow Trump to have a win. They absolutely cannot allow Trump to have a win, so they're not gonna. So I want to talk about something else. The question might be is, how much do you think that we as Americans give to Mexico a year? I mean, I don't know which number is. If you want to guess the number before I say it, I'm going to tell you how much we give to Mexico every year just to be good neighbors, to be neighborly. So what do you think that number is? Let me know. Do you think it's $1 million? Do you think it's 10 million? Do you think it's $1 billion? Do you think it's $1 trillion? Well, I'm going to tell you the number. I'll tell you in about 10 seconds if you want to guess. But it's a significant number, and it's a number that should be talked about when this whole border wall, the whole invasion of the Mexicans and the Latin Americans and the people that are coming over from Bangladesh and wherever they're coming from, and they're going, because it's a lot easier to get into Mexico than it is to get into America. So you go to Mexico and you sneak through. You know, it's like, John, remember when you used to go to the drive-in theater and I would sneak in through this yard in a van? Did you ever do that?
And through a yard?
There was a yard next door to the 28th Street Drive-In, and we would drive through this yard. We knew people. We would drive through this yard. That's how we get into the drive-in theater.
Not me. I just drive slap in the exit.
Really? You just drive in?
Drive right in the exit.
Well, however you got into the drive-through. Okay, so we got 40 billion. Samantha says 3.5 trillion. Laura says 1 billion. Okay, here's the number. Since a few people guess, it's $320 million. $320 million. Doesn't sound like a whole lot, but it's significant. I don't want them to get my $320 million. I don't want to get a nickel of mine. So let's talk about the $320 million. Then we just said, hey, we're going to burn a timeout. We're not going to give you your $320 million. If they would have done that for the last 20 years, this wall would have been built. This wall would have been built, and they just would have said, you know what, we're not going to give you any money. But here's the real number. Now, I know we've talked about the remittances. How's it going, Jim? We've talked about the remittances to Mexico and Latin America. And everybody's like, well, tax the remittances, tax the remittances. Because what happens is the people come here. Here's how it works. The illegals sneak across the border.
Remittance is the cash that they ship out of the country from the money they make each week.
Through like Western Union or Walmart or MoneyGram or wire transfers or however they get it there, that's the remittances. So that number, I'd like to see if anybody can guess what that number is. This number is a doozy, guys.
You won't believe this.
This number's a pretty good one. So if you want to guess what the number of remittance is, and what this is all getting to, guys, is it's getting to how Mexico can pay for that wall. But the difference is we need somebody in the government that has enough stones and enough guts to say, hey, we're going to do this to you. We're going to do this to you. So anybody want to guess what the number is?
Well, wait a minute. Not only has...
Hey, shout out to Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A is great.
Not only have they been sending this money over to, what are the top 5 countries? What you gave me earlier?
Okay, here's the thing. Latin America, I will tell you that Mexico makes up 40% of all the remittances sent out of America to Mexico and the Latin American countries. That includes the Caribbean islands. It includes El Salvador, Honduras, Nicaragua. It includes, all those, that are in the Latin corridor. Mexico makes up about 40%. So
now Walmart's gotten rich off of this because they make $10 a pop off of it.
They do, yes.
Every weekend, you go to Walmart after 4 o'clock, or you go to Amscott, you go to wherever, Ace, whatever little Quickie Mart or whatever you got, and they also do it with money orders too.
Money orders.
They don't just use cash or that system.
So anyways, guys, the number is this. The number is $69 billion. $69 billion. And the staggering thing is that the monies that go to Mexico, we make up 2% just on remittances. Not like steel that's sold, not cars that were sold, not tacos that were sold. Just the remittances make up 2% of their gross domestic product. It's just free money coming in. Free money coming in makes up 2% of Mexico. It makes up 20% of Honduras and El Salvador's gross domestic product.
20%?
20%. 20%. It's an outrageous number, guys.
That's a fifth of their whole income.
So here's the thing. $69 billion a year. If we tax it at 10%, it would take 1 year for Trump to have his 5.7 billion. 10% he would have it. If we just tax it at like 2%, If we just tax it 2%, the wall would be built in like 5 years. You know, or the 5.7 billion. And we wouldn't be soaking everybody. So the monies are there. We just have to have a government and a president that has the will and the intestinal fortitude to actually make that happen and pull the trigger and say, you know what, enough is enough. I said 2 years ago and 3 years ago that Mexico will pay for that wall. That's how they can pay for the wall. They can pay for it just like that, guys.
I'm all for confiscating El Chapo's cash.
That's $16 billion. That's on my sheet here, guys. See? El Chapo right there, $16 billion.
He ain't going to spend it.
He's not going to spend it where he's going. You know, he's not going to spend it where he's going. So another thing I was talking to a tax expert who works for one of the big tax agencies. I don't want to say which one it is, but they got a green logo behind them, and it's a couple initials, okay? So we can't say it. We don't say it. But I was asking him about how the illegals, and he would not come on camera because he didn't want to put his job or his, I guess, you know, career with this large tax agency in jeopardy. So,
excuse me.
Bless you there, Juan. So anyways, this is how it works. I was on the phone with him for like 30 minutes. I have a degree in accounting. I have a degree in finance, so I can kind of understand how some of this stuff works. First of all, the illegal immigrants, and he sees us every day. We live in Florida. He sees us every day. The illegal immigrants come across, however they get here. You know, they can dig under walls. They can go around on the land. They can fly in. They can overstay visas. However they get here. So what they do is they get here, and then they apply for an ITIN, an individual tax I payer number. Now, that's not a social security number, and it's not an EIN. It's a number that's given out to people that are here in many different ways. That's one way. Second way is they steal a social security number, or they just make one up. Then they go steal or they make up social security numbers for 3 kids. Now, 3 kids, it is about the sweet spot he was telling me. 3 kids is the sweet spot for how the whole scheme works. Because if you have 3 kids and an under-the-table job that you just make up some bogus income for, you can get $10,000 back from the federal government. $10,000.
Can I use 2 of your kids this year?
$10,000. So let me just, let's just put this in a little bit of perspective here, guys. And I haven't done the math, so I'm going to do it now here on my handy-dandy iPhone. Okay, the number is, what's the number for how many illegal immigrants are in America, John?
They don't really know. They say 13
I've seen up
million.
to 40 million. I've seen up to 40 million. There's 13 million, 40 million.
They know there's at least 15 million.
Okay, so let's take 15 million people, okay? Man, there's a lot of zeros here. 15 million. And let's just divide that by 4, okay? We'll divide that by 4 because those will be probably the amount of people that are filing tax returns, and then they're going to show other people. So then, let's say that's 3.7 million people that are going to file these crazy tax returns. Then, they're all going to get $10,000. That number is not even, look, okay, the number comes up on my phone as 3.75 E10. So I got to turn my phone sideways, the number's so big. I don't even know what that number is.
Trillion.
No.
I don't think that is.
I think it's $37 billion.
37 billion?
Yeah.
500,000?
It's 37
billion, 500 million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
a lot of dinero.
That's how much our federal government could possibly be being built every year in just all this bullshit. It's absolute bullshit, guys.
Well, last year you seen them. Was it last year or the year before? They broke up that big ring over in Tampa. That they were getting all that tax money, putting rims on their cars and
the green dot thing. The
green dot thing, yeah.
Yeah.
And those people cashing those checks at these little convenience stores and whatnot, they were getting half the money too.
I know.
So it's just a scam to the scam.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy. So I don't understand why. I mean, I understand why the Democrats don't want to give in for a couple reasons. The reason the Democrats don't want to give on this wall is, first of all, it gives Trump a win, and they absolutely cannot allow that to happen. They cannot give Trump a win no matter what it is. That's first. Second is, when these people come in from Latin America, they become Democrat voters, you know, in future generations. So whether they get amnesty or whether they sneak in and they have an anchor baby, however they get here, they become anchor babies and future voters for the Democrat Party. So it's pretty much like the Democrat Party is like banking or saving, you know, pretty much votes for the future. That's why they won't allow it. And, you know, I think it's absolutely crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Now, we're going to come back and talk about this, but I want to take another moment to talk about something that I find near and dear to my heart. It's the topic of pseudo-genders in America, and especially pseudo-genders in the military. You saw that the Supreme Court said, no, we're not going to allow the pseudo-genders to be in the military. It's just too much, I did a video here, and I did it a while ago, so I'm going to share this video with you. Take a watch and tell me what you think. Here it comes, guys. Hey guys, Uno here. I want to weigh in on this whole transgender ban that Trump dropped the hammer on this week. Okay, first of all, I completely agree and understand why President Trump would say we're no longer going to have transgender people in our military, because it's a distraction and it's an expense that we don't need to incur. Any sane person that's willing to share their opinion has to say that. Even if you're transgender, you have to say, you know what? Somebody else shouldn't have to pay for my gender reassignment. I went onto the website. There are 35 pages of things that preclude people from being in the military. And all of them aren't fair to somebody. I'm sure people could purposely serve perfectly fine having diabetes, gout, gastric bypass. So if you went and had a lap band on because you were a lard ass and now you're skinny, you're still out. If you have anemia, if you had a goiter, if you have plantar fasciitis on your feet, if you have an ingrown toenail that's severe, you're out. That's unfair to those people. If you have arthritis, night blindness, if you are shorter than 5 foot tall as a man, you are not able to participate in the United States military. Now, I'm sure there is somebody that is perfectly capable at 4'11" that could be in our military. But the rules are the rules, and the rules are put in place for certain reasons. And it's the military. It's not daycare. It's not summer camp. It's the military. Their job is to fight and win war the best way that the military sees it. And it makes perfect sense to me that they don't want to be distracted and incur the costs associated with gender reassignment. It's nuts, guys. It's nuts for us to change their sex on our dime. Why would we pay for that? That makes absolutely no sense. Now, if you want to be transgender and you want to live in the private sector and pay for it, good. You should be able to do that. I wish you the well, you know, but it shouldn't be on our dime. That's absolutely nuts, because everybody that wanted to be transgender would just go in the military and have somebody else pay the $100,000s of dollars. It's absolutely nuts. So let's just put this in a different context. If we're going to pay to make people, you know, be the person they want to be, what if a woman in the military didn't feel like she was busty enough? Would the military then have to pay for implants for that woman so she felt more like a woman? Or what if there was a guy who in the shower room didn't feel like he was enough of a man, so he made the government pay for a penile implant? Would that make sense? No, it's absolutely nuts. And if you won't pay for breast implants or penile implants for soldiers, why would you pay to completely change their gender? It makes absolutely no sense. It's liberal nutsness, guys. And the problem is nobody will stand up and say, wait a second, that doesn't make any sense. You know, nobody's willing to go out there and say, you know, this is actually nuts. Everybody's so afraid to offend everybody. I thank God that President Trump has the stones to be the president he is and say what needs to be said and not worry if he offends anybody. I say thank you, President Trump, for being the president that I... Hey guys, Cliff and $2 back here. So that was a video I did, I don't know, like a year ago when the whole transgender thing came up, and I just couldn't understand it. I'm like, okay, so let me get this straight. I want to become a woman. I don't, but if I did, I'll just join the military. And then about my second week in, I'll just be like, hey, whoa, 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 whoa. I'm just not feeling it, guys. I'm not feeling it. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it's the boot camp that's making me feel more feminine, but I need to be a girl today. And you taxpayers need to pay for this because I need it. I mean, that's the ridiculousness. And based on the previous logic of that mother effer Obama and his whole administration, well then yeah, let's pay for the transgenders. So that led me to the other logic where, okay, so let's say I don't want to take it that far. Let's say I'm a girl and I just think I want to look better. I want to go to Walter Reed and have some implants put in. I want to go to Walter Reed and maybe have some butt implants put in. Or maybe I want the U.S. government to start paying for hair extensions or like perms.
Or get you some Botox.
I mean, yeah, to get Botox. Why not pay for braces? Why not pay for everything? I can just go there and we can pretty much make the United States military Beverly Hills.
Shit down, just set you on an assembly line like Ford did, and just lay down on it and just go on through, and they'll just body you up as you ride on down.
I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous, the extremes that people feel like this government owes them something and that they want to bilk them out of. You know, it started off with, welfare. Then it started off with extreme welfare. When I say extreme welfare, John, we've talked about it many times. When welfare used to be welfare, you got your cheese in a box, you got your milk in a powder, and that's how you lived. And you didn't get cornflakes that were by Kellogg's, you got cornflakes that were by Kellogg's. You didn't get anything that was...
You got a white box that said cornflakes on it.
And then you got coupons. And you had to go to the grocery store and you're like, oh hell, I don't want to show the person behind me that I'm paying with these coupons. Now you just swipe your card.
And you're a big shot.
Yeah, oh yeah, let me just swipe this card. I got all my money. I got my EBT, my electronic, So, I mean, it's really, really changed how we perceive and how the useless, I just think they're completely useless Americans feel that they're somehow entitled or that there's some huge bag of money that's being produced. And, I don't understand. I don't understand the mentality of Americans that feel like that they're entitled to things, that they should get things. I really don't understand it. I don't understand. What's up, Tom? How's it going? We're talking about the transgender population and how the Supreme Court finally said, no, we're going to burn a timeout here on this. We ain't going to let Sally, who's now Stanley, go hang out in the middle of a foxhole, and he'll be out there for 2 weeks, and all of a sudden he's run out of, his hormone pills, and it starts turning like the wolf man. He hasn't taken his hormone pills because he's in a foxhole for 2 weeks, and he starts scratching, and
gunfire breaks out, and he starts crying.
And he was a guy before, but now he can't take his Sally pills. And all of a sudden, he's like, oh, man, he starts scratching his balls and stuff like that because it's gone bad and he can't keep the hormones down. And now he's like he's a mess. He can't keep his hormones straight because, Walgreens, I don't think Walgreens delivers to foxholes in the middle of Fallujah. Do they, John?
No, I don't think so.
I really don't think that Walgreens or CVS are out in the middle of a desert in Fallujah in like a war zone. I don't think it works like that. So the government, in all its wisdom, said, well, wait a second. We don't want to really get involved in that. I did a video where, you just saw that talked about there's 32 pages of things that you can't be in the military if you have. And some of them are pretty reasonable. Some of them are like, oh, really? I mean, I found that if you have an ingrown toenail, now you think that's something they can fix, you're out. You're out. Now, here's what I thought was really interesting. If you were let's say you were some big lard ass, and you had to have lap band surgery. Let's say you're like Al Roker, and all of a sudden you get skinny, and now you're skinny, you're fit, you're healthy, but you got a lap band on. You're out. No chance. You can't go in the military. Let's say you have diabetes, but the diabetes is being controlled by medicine. Just like the hormones would be suppressed with medicine. You're out, Joyce says, what are you talking about? I'm curious. Joyce, we first started talking about the wall and how Mexico could pay for it by remittances, by El Chapo's money, and by the amount of $320 million that we give to Mexico. Now we're talking about transgenders in the military and how the Supreme Court said, nope, we ain't for that. We're not going to have that. And I'm talking about they can't do it because if you're in the middle of a foxhole and you used to be Stanley, but now you're Sally, and you've got to take pills to keep Stanley down and suppress, Stanley, then all of a sudden, CVS isn't open out in Fallujah, or you can't get to a Walgreens in the middle of Iran or Iraq or wherever you're in some forward country, then it's just not going to work out. It's not going to work out. So, I think it's absolutely correct that there should be no transgender military. Now, you will know that in the military, whether you're a line cook or a logistics person or whoever it is, you can go into the military and you can be flying drones or whatever your job is. There is an agreement that at any point they can deploy you to the front lines. That's part of it. It doesn't matter what your job was. I have a friend who used to be the computer tech on bases, and he was a Marine. And that was his job. His job was to go around, fix computers, fix networks, get printers working. And then one day, they said, hey, we've got something even cooler going on. We're going to go kick in doors inside Iraq. And he's like, what? Get in the truck. You're going to be a door kicker. Yeah, I'm tech guy. Nope, not tech guy anymore. The only thing you're going to tech is the front door when you kick it in. And that's how it works. So now my buddy was a guy who's now a girl who's no longer fixing computers, and he's kicking in front doors. And all of a sudden he forgets to take his meds one day because he's not in a really good situation. He can barely keep his feet dry, and he can barely keep food in his stomach, and he can't sleep too well because there's bombs and stuff going on, and it's a pretty bad situation. And Stanley forgets to take the Sally pills, and Stanley starts coming back. It's a complete mess. I mean, it's just a complete mess. Or let's give you this one. Let's say you used to be Sally, but now you're Stanley. You used to be Sally, but now you're Stanley. Now you're in a foxhole with Gary, okay? Now Gary, he don't have any interest in Stanley, but when Stanley starts turning back to Sally, maybe there's some problems that would develop in that situation. So it's just a bad idea, guys. There's no real reason.
There's a no win-win on that one.
At some point, we just have to say, you know what? Enough's enough. It's just too much. It's just too much. And I think that's the point which I'm trying to make is, why would you put yourself in a situation that's bad? Why would you put yourself in a situation that's just going to have problems from the get-go? It's like if you were going to go date
Why put the other people in that situation?
Yeah, it's
not just about them themselves. What about the rest of the troop or the rest of the people that are in the foxhole with them? They don't have a choice. They don't have a right to say, look, I'm not happy with Sally covering my back.
It just makes sense, guys. I mean, they're not out there, like raking leaves in a yard. They're not just doing some mindless thing. They have their lives in their hands. They have their partners' lives, their platoon's lives, their fellow soldiers' lives in their hands. It's just a situation that really doesn't need to be dealt with. I mean, it's just too much. There's no need. Now, look, if we're at war and people are storming onto the shores of America and it's everybody grab your gun and go fight like the Revolutionary War or whatever, then yeah, let's Sally Stanley go do whatever they can, But when we don't need that, I think it's just something that's not really necessary. It's really not necessary. So that comes to another situation. I'm sure you saw, and the reason I'm wearing my MAGA hat, huh?
Congress?
No, I was going to talk about the Catholic kids.
Oh.
So the reason I'm wearing my MAGA hat tonight...
Got mine on. Matches my new shirt.
It is in honor of the kids from Covington Catholic High that were, I guess, abused on social media for...
Well, they, in my point, Cliff, I don't mean to interrupt you, but they had it coming.
Who did?
The kids. They are white. They've got white privilege.
White privilege.
They're Catholic.
Oh my God! That's a trifecta.
And they're wearing a MAGA hat.
That's a
trifecta.
You went from a trifecta to a quinella.
A quinella, yeah, that's a quinella.
Oh my God! I mean, now did you hear that Alyssa Milano said that the MAGA hat is the new white hood. Did you see that one?
I seen it, but I think I want somebody should send me a picture of her wearing the MAGA hat.
I mean,
that'd be cool.
How in the world is this hat even remotely synonymous with a Ku Klux Klan hood? I mean, that doesn't make. That's just this crazy politics, but the problem is people hear that stuff enough and they start to believe it, John.
Oh, they ran with it. They didn't check the facts.
I know people are starting to believe that, I proudly wear this. I strolled around today, and I even put on my Donald Trump inauguration shirt. I went full boat today. I was wearing my hat, my shirt. I rolled into Chick-fil-A, which is very pro-American, and you should have seen some of the people in there. I mean, they were looking at me like, because I stood out, because now sometimes I'll wear like a Trump hat, but sometimes it's a different Trump hat. It's not the MAGA hat. It's, the hat with the 4 stars says Trump 2020 or something like that. So, I wear a lot of different Trump stuff, as I know you do too, John. But today I decided I was going to pull this old bad boy out and put this one on because it's so much in the news right now. Hey, and another thing, if you guys want to stop, and if you're watching this or if you watch this later, tomorrow or the next day, maybe we'll wait till Monday. If you like this, if you like my page, you got to be a liker of the page. You got to like this video, and you got to share this video. And if you do those 3 things, you'll enter for a chance to win your own MAGA hat.
And I'll throw in a couple extra things too.
Maybe some Trump 2020 bumper stickers. What are you gonna throw in, John?
A bumper sticker, a pin for 2020. I'll take care of them. I'll hook them up.
Yeah.
Speaking of shirts, I got my new one here. You see it? Everybody want to see my shirt here? See it?
It says bull, and then it says bullshit, and then it says global warming.
Yeah, but the best part about it is if they didn't catch it when I was walking past them, they can read it right on the back.
It's on the back there too, huh?
Yeah, I had them printed on front and back, so there was no misunderstanding.
Did you have that shirt made?
No, I got it off the internet, but they have a thing there where you can have it front or back on both of them. So I just checked. There was no extra front or back. Do it on both of them.
Yeah, that's a good shirt. I've seen that shirt. I've seen those posts. But so let's talk about the kids and.
You better buy one because the world's ending in 12 years.
12 years. We got 12 years, guys. 12 years. Yeah. Who came up with 12 years? That crazy AOC came up with 12 years?
Yeah, that was yesterday. She goes, "You're worried about money and we only have 12 years to live?" Well, that's no worse than, what's his name, talking about, Gore was talking, wasn't it Gore that was talking about we only had 6 months?
No, I think who knows? Hey, listen, guys, I live on the coast in Florida. I live on the water, and I have a seawall. So this global warming, if it starts happening, I'm going to be front and center, and my property's going to become worthless. So I'm as vested in as anybody. I mean, I don't want global warming. And if there's something I can do, I mean, I just want to be honest, there's something I can do. I mean, I don't burn things more than I should. I don't throw paint down my sewers. I mean, I do drink out of plastic straws. I don't know if in your city they ban plastic straws, but in our city, plastic straws are banned. But what I recommended to the government to our local government, I said, instead of banning plastic straws, why don't you ban filtered cigarettes in St. Petersburg? Because I drive down the road, I see a lot more cigarette butts in the curbs than I do straws. What about you, John? Do you see any straws in the curbs?
I don't think the sea animals are choking on the cigarette butts.
How do you know?
I don't know. I've never opened one up to see if they were smoking or not.
No, but I mean, that's disgusting when you drive down the road and you see all those cigarette butts.
My ex-wife got pulled over here in Gulfport for throwing her cigarette butt out the window. Told her next time he sees her, $500 fine for littering.
Really? I mean, yeah. I believe more in that than I do the straws. Now, all these straws are banned. What about the people who live in, like, Nebraska? I mean, are their straws somehow making their way to the Pacific Ocean or the Gulf of Mexico or the Atlantic Ocean or something like that?
Or the Dakotas?
Oh,